Now we're cooking. It's the coach. This is NFL football on EA Sports. Coming up, running back Dalvin Cook. He's back and coming off a big game a weekend ago. Coming up, we'll see the visiting Atlanta Falcons taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I'll join you again at halftime to look at some of these stats and scores from earlier this afternoon. But for now, it's Sunday Night Football. And on the call, as always, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
Now we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Nothing like the fanfare of introductions to an NFL game, and that was in evidence a moment ago. Two teams trying to stake their claim to postseason football. Week 14 of the NFL is underway. This fielded at the 2. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 25-yard line. So here's the Viking offense making their way out. Orchestrating the offense, the former 3-time captain at Michigan State, quarterback Kirk Cousins.
And I'll bet right now it's just one thought in his mind.
Win the game.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He played pretty well. I mean, he didn't turn over the ball in terms of interceptions.
No,
right?
2 touchdown passes last week.
2 touchdown passes, but when your team doesn't win, that's just hollow. And the best quarterbacks don't care about anything but whether or not their team won.
Now the first play of the drive there is incomplete. And the offensive starters for the Vikings.
For a lot of people, there are pros and cons to playing close to home in the NFL. But for Adam Thielen, it's nothing but pros. Grew up not too far from the Twin Cities, loves being a Viking, and is a really dependable third-down receiver.
To throw is Cousins. And that one got tipped, kind of threw everything off. It brings up third. The starters defensively now for the Falcons. They played really well in the win over the Raiders a week ago.
And all defensive teams that I know talk about creating turnovers. Takeaways, they call it. And anytime you can get 2 or more in a game, you've had a really, really good performance. They exceeded that number in a big way.
And he comes back with one complete. It'll be a gain of 16 and give him a first down as well. Well, that tight end position, it just seems to continue to evolve every year in the NFL.
Yeah, you're getting really terrific athletes. A lot of them maybe were wide receivers at one point. They continue to give you speed, great hands, and big bodies, which make them excellent targets for quarterbacks.
Now, meanwhile, a pass that should have been intercepted, but it winds up falling incomplete.
And that's one he's got to be happy to have back. There wasn't a hole open in the zone.
You'd have to think on early downs like that first down there, need to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, fortunately for him, got a couple more downs to play with.
Now the first carry for Dalvin Cook. And this time he's going backwards. So after the no gain on the last attempt, here they get him behind the line.
I know when I was a kid, I always got real excited when I saw those lateral-type runs. But the best backs that made it happen, they put a foot.
And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked off by Robert Alford. And now running right through it.
That's it, baby.
They were ball hawks last week. They had a trio of interceptions on defense. In the first drive, they pick up right where they left off.
They're creating quite a reputation for themselves, aren't they? And sometimes what happens is when they know that the defense can take the ball away, as they saw the previous week, now you try too hard to not let them take it away, and you force yourself into errors. They've intimidated them in a sense and gotten the ball from them.
They'll run here with Freeman. And he will push his way forward down to about the 3-yard line. The numbers for Freeman a week ago. He was, without a doubt, one of the catalysts in that victory.
And he can really be the glue that makes this offense go, because when defenders have to commit to stopping him, that just opens up more opportunities in the passing game.
They'll look to run with Freeman. And he pushes forward but comes up short of the goal line as he'll get a yard down to about the 1. 2 straight shots on the ground. Now on third, do you go to the air?
I think the possibility exists, and if you're doing it, you're probably going play action since you ran it twice. But I often think that second down is a time you go play action and throw the ball. I say commit to the run and think about it being 4-down territory. This drive started with 1st and goal. Now that it's 4th and goal, anything less than a touchdown would feel like a letdown to me.
And Bryant's kick is good. And the Falcons are out to a 3-0 advantage. They got the interception, but very little movement after, and that forces them to settle for 3. And it does feel like settling when that happens, doesn't it?
It certainly does, but we got to give a lot of credit where it's due, and that's to the defense because they ran onto the field. This is what we call sudden change, right? Interception, you've got to go put out the fire, and they did, holding them to a field goal.
Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10. Here's Cook as they begin on the ground. And he'll take this up near the 35, maybe the 34. There are the numbers for Cook from a week ago. 20 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown.
Has 9 rushing touchdowns on the season, so a lot of credit has to go to the rest of the offense because you know those big guys up front are doing work. But now the goal is to get to 10. And don't for a second think that the defense doesn't know that. They'd like to do their best to keep him at the end zone in this one. We all have habits. We can be somewhat predictable, and you know me pretty well on 2nd down and short. What I like to see.
Play action.
Yeah, without a doubt, that was a great spot to call it. Instead, didn't go their way, did it?
Now, defense sold out for the run. Worked out well. Now a 3rd down throw, but it misses the target. Incomplete.
Not only was the call spot on, how about the execution of that defense right there? The zone was absolutely locked up tight. He was trying to force it in there on 3rd down.
But if there's a time to force it, he felt like he needed to make a play, right? Oh, the Falcons fly in and they block it. It's picked up, and this is a live ball, remember.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
That's a pretty solid start to this one. You didn't get a touchdown, but you got 3 points on your opening drive. Then you stop them and block the punt there.
Almost feel like you got inspired, right? Offense went out and scored, put points on the board, as you noted, a field goal. And your defense goes right out there and helps out as well, blocking a punt and give them another opportunity.
Here are the Falcons as their offense heads back onto the field. And last time they got 3 points, but it was a chip shot field goal. And when you go to the sideline after a chip shot field goal, maybe the offense not too happy.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Because you're exactly right. They're none too pleased that they didn't punch it in for 6 points. But they also have to remember they did put points on the board.
3 points is 3. And he's got his star receiver. It's Jones for the Falcon touchdown. Julio Jones, his 11th touchdown of the year. And the Falcons will add on to their lead. And in the red zone, I guess this is why you have a guy like that on your roster.
Without a doubt, and if you have him, you use him because he's a guy who's going to win just about every time. I don't care what the coverage is.
Bryant tacks on the extra point, and the lead grows to 10-0. Well, they got the ball in great field position. 1 play later, boom, end zone. Here's Bosher to kick it away. This is taken at his 4. And he'll take this one near the 25, call it the 26-yard line. And now out comes Minnesota. Now a play fake here on 1st down. Open here, Adam Thielen. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. A very solid gain of 27.
The goal for any offense versus his own defense, find the holes where guys are available and put the ball on the receiver before any defender can step up and fill it.
They did it well there. Perfectly executed crossing route. 1st down, here's the run with Cook. So he got free of 1 tackle, but couldn't do a whole lot else. A gain of 3, 2nd down.
What's the old expression, 3 yards in a cloud of dust? In this case, it's dust-covered pellets. It's no longer that old grass that we used to play on, right, and chew it up. Now we've got that artificial surface. You see the pellets go up. Still a nice play by the defense.
And past the 35, he'll be dropped a yard or two shy of the 30. 12 yards there as they move the chains.
I have to admit, I'm excited by that play call and the end result, because this is a team that's down big early in the first quarter, and a lot of teams will just panic, abandon the playbook, and just start firing the ball all over the place. It's way too early for that. Stick to what works for you.
Down double digits, and we talked about their game plan being both running and passing there. You're right. They're sticking to the game plan, getting the ground game going.
A lot of football left to be played.
And on the ground they go with the running back. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield.
Anytime you call an inside running play, you just know there should be a lot of congestion there. You're counting on your offensive line to take control of the line of scrimmage. That didn't happen in this case, and that play got bottled up.
Pressure brought in, and the Falcons get there for the sack. And we say it all the time, have to be able to get rid of the ball sooner than that.
You have to help your offensive line out. They're going to protect you as best they can. And if you're getting 3 to 5 seconds to throw the ball, they're doing a really nice job. But when you hold it and give up a sack, you're really almost discrediting their work.
Here's Brad Wing now. On for his second punt, and remember, his first one was blocked. Atlanta now coming out on the field. And for them, a touchdown their last go-around. Obviously, they'll be hoping to do that again.
And when you start plotting for this drive, when you start thinking to yourself, okay, what are we going to do? You don't go away from what you did before because that worked, but you have to be prepared for wrinkles and counters because you know they'll make some adjustments.
Call it no gain on the play, and it'll be second down.
He has elite instincts from his linebacker spot. He's able to diagnose the run and flies in like a missile to stop that one behind the line of scrimmage.
Ryan now off the bootleg. And he can't escape the pressure. Ryan goes down. Daniil Hunter in there to get him, and that's sack number 8 for him on the year.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit him with a screen soon.
And they'll get him down here at the 23. They get 7 there, but it brings up 4th.
They didn't get the first down, but I have to say I do like the call. I like what they were trying to do. Try and hit your receiver on the run and see if he can pick it up. Keep it on his feet, get a little rack yardage.
Yeah, but a nice job defensively to get to him and keep him short of the first. The Vikings offense now, they get ready to head back on the field. And down on the scoreboard, certainly needing to avoid what happened on the last drive, punting the football.
Sense of urgency has to take over for them here. They know the score. They know the situation. And by the way, the punter no longer exists for their offense. That's how they have to treat this drive.
They need points.
Big time.
First play of the drive going for 14 and also going for a first down.
Well, partner, when you ask anyone other than your QB to throw the ball, you must have a lot of confidence or you think you're really going to fake them out, and it looks like they did exactly that.
Yeah, going deep in the playbook and a great grab on the other end. 2 yards on the carry there. It'll be second down.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
Up from his linebacker spot, Deion Jones making the play.
On any running play that's called, they're always hoping that it's going to break big and go the distance. But when you get a nice game like that, you're able to do so many things anyway. You can come back and run essentially the same play again, continue to move the ball on the ground, or you can decide to throw the ball now because usually you have the defense back on its heels.
Encroachment, defense.
So a jump there defensively.
And it's a killer. Watch the football. Don't move across the line of scrimmage until the ball moves.
A first down throw for Cousins. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Well, for last week's performance, which was so good, he was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He got a lot of praise, and understandably so, from national media. Looking pretty good on that play, too.
And I love what he told us this week before the game. He talked about how much time they spend working on pass rush moves, every position, because anyone could go after the quarterback in their defense, and you can see how they've all absorbed their lessons. But we just saw a great example of what we talked about with his coach prior to the game. He's definitely one of the better linebackers at reading a play and flowing to make the stop before it turns into something big.
Cousins. Going to throw right side here. Complete. They showed off a nice juke of the defender before the next wave could bring him down. One quarter down here on a frigid December night. They are, however, facing a 4th down situation. Here's Brad Wing now. Remember, though, he did have one blocked earlier. Atlanta now coming out on the field. And on the last go-around, they really couldn't get anything going.
They had to punt from deep inside their own territory, which means they're going to lose the field position battle as a general rule. What they're looking for now is a little more consistency, move the ball at least a few times on offense, get a couple of first downs, and hopefully flip the field.
Yeah, just something to build off of. That's what they're looking for here. Great way to start the drive. 20 big ones and a first down.
Boy, he does it at a high level, doesn't he? Because when I watch him, I think of his vision. Straight ahead, peripheral. Also has that sense of where holes are going to be before they actually open. I think that helps set him apart from many of the other backs in the league.
The tackle made there by Harrison Smith.
I call that play a success. A nice inside run sets up a very manageable second down. A very solid gain on that play.
Ryan. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back, complete. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50. A nice pick up there, 10 yards, and it'll move the sticks. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. And you can drop anyone out of your defensive front. Defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
It's caught over the middle. Hooper. And he'll go down shy of the 40 at the 41. Not a big window to throw. Coverage wasn't too bad there.
Yeah, they had him under wraps pretty well, but somehow able to muscle his way open and catch the ball.
Again, Ryan. Swings it out to the flat for Freeman. It'll be a gain of 4, and that'll bring up 4th down.
A short gain that doesn't get them the first down brings up a 4th down situation.
Really nice job defensively. They knew where the sticks were. They got the stop before it. He's got the leg, but it's no good. He missed it right, and this score will stay right where it is. So it's an empty trip downfield there as they get a missed field goal on 4th down.
And I didn't see anything in the setup. It's a good snap, good hold.
Yep.
He just pushed it, and that one never wanted to come back.
They start the drive with Cook. Now he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. 23 yards on the pickup there and a first.
Sometimes those lines that are drawn on a grease board or in a playbook, they come to life out on the field, don't they? And we just saw that outside handoff to the right.
That right tackle, he gets excited for that call, doesn't he?
He does, because he just wants to dominate his guy and say, listen, I was the point of attack. I took care of business. That's why you're able to get downfield and add all those yards to your total.
Yeah, really nice gain there. So on the big tight end, holding.
Each and every year, we talk about very few tight ends coming into the league that are polished blockers or asked to do it a lot in college. So it's a constant struggle and a constant fight to learn how to do it without holding.
And he will find his man for the first time, Demaryius Thomas. And they'll be inside the 35 now at the 34-yard line. A good pickup there, 8 yards on the first down completion. Now they try the right side here. Stops short of the 25, but that second effort got him a couple extra. 8 yards there on the carry, and now they're left with a much more manageable 3rd and 3.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice, solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
And they'll be inside the 25 now at the 24. It'll be a pickup of just 2, and that's going to make it 4th down.
One hallmark of good defenses is understanding the game, understanding positioning, and tackling immediately in the secondary after catches. I think we just saw that on display right there.
Got to him before he ever had a chance to think about turning it upfield. So a good snap, good hold, and right down the middle.
Never in doubt. Just the way you used to hit them, partner.
You mean like kicking the ball?
Exactly.
Well, that was in high school.
Doesn't matter. I don't care what level. You hit them, they go through.
This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Ryan will bring the Falcons up now 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. The drive will start with a carry by Devontae Freeman. And he'll get this one up to the 26. Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, this big defensive lineman will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
To the sideline, and wow, what a catch there. He doesn't get a lot, but he was able to get the feet down complete. That catch good for 5. It's 3rd down.
Let's make this one simple. What a catch, especially the finishing part of getting his feet in bounds, toe tapping, and, of course, foot dragging.
A little tapestry, if you will.
Oh, I like it.
Catch number 40 for him on the year. It's a 1st down.
I think it all came together there. In-breaking route, drove it with excellent pace. Money throw right there to move the sticks.
They go play action here on 1st down. Wide open receiver complete. And he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. A really good pickup of 28 yards. So on that play, defense was in the zone. They ran a crossing route offensively, but the defense there, you got to be good with communication, don't you?
You certainly do, and it's not something that is really evident when you watch it on the screen. But everyone's talking, communicating, pointing, and it keeps you from chasing receivers because you have a specific zone you have to cover. When a receiver's in your zone and he crosses to another one, you got to let your guy know. They got a completion there, but I like the discipline they showed to stay in their proper areas and then make the tackle.
Off the play fake to Freeman. It's Ryan. And finding the tight end Hooper. That one good for the completion percentage, but no gain. It'll be 3rd down.
Pass complete, but no gain.
No yards.
Yeah.
So you file that as unsuccessful.
Yeah, you do, don't you? Except on the stats, throwing the ball.
Get a completion.
You get a catch.
Yeah.
But still, no yardage. Okay.
And he'll have his man. That's Cooper. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 12 yards there as they keep this drive rolling. It's another 1st down. And now the passing game here in the 2nd quarter starting to heat up a little bit.
Don't you feel the rhythm starting to happen, right? You see it. Now the confidence is starting to rise. I think now as a play caller, because that has happened, you lean on it a little bit more. You don't go totally away from running the football, but you do say, guess what? We can throw it. We can throw it well with a whole lot of confidence.
And now a 10th carry for Freeman. And he'll take this from the 9 down to about the 7. The good run on 1st down followed up by a not-so-good run on 2nd down.
Now let's find out they're going to stick with the run here on 3rd down. A lot of people would love to see some play action here. I say go with your best running play over your best blocker.
On 3rd and 1, Ryan. And he is into the end zone for a Falcon touchdown. Austin Hooper, his 2nd touchdown on the season. And the Falcons will extend their lead. Well, it was 3rd and 1. I was expecting run, so much for that. They pass it, they score it.
That had the feel of the head coach telling the offensive coordinator, you've got 4 downs here. We're going to go for it on 4th down unless there's a disaster on 3rd. Go ahead and take a shot if you want to. And he gratefully accepted the opportunity and did exactly that. If they didn't get it there, that had the feel that they would come back and try it on 4th down.
This fielded at the 2. And he'll take this across the 25, a couple extra yards up to the 27-yard line. Now the Minnesota offense set to take over again. And tough to win games if you're going field goal, field goal, field goal here. They got field goal last time. Now they'll be looking for a touchdown.
They're looking for the big chunk now because, as you noted, the field goal way of doing it makes it that much harder and puts more pressure on every possession for you now. Go ahead and get 6 and feel a lot more comfortable about the position they're in.
Bigger chunks. We'll see if they can get the score. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. More from Minneapolis after this. Coming up at the half, a reminder, we go back to Orlando to check in with Jonathan Coachman. He'll have a look back at our first half as well as a look ahead to what's coming up later this weekend. First down, here's Cousins. And he hits his man on the out route, Demaryius Thomas.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense.
A little too much extracurricular there.
When you have a game with a lot of contact, tensions are going to run pretty high. You're going to be emotional, but you have to harness it somehow, and he didn't on that play.
Throwing is Cousins. And the Falcons get there. The Falcons get the sack. Down he goes. Vic Beasley in there to drop him, and his great season continues. 13 sacks for him now on the year. Now a second down throw for Cousins. Throwing the out route incomplete. That's Thomas. And here he'll be brought down a little shy of the 35 at the 36. The reception good for 7. It's 3rd down. On 3rd down, Cousins. And this is going to be incomplete. Seems like this defense, especially the secondary, has really been contesting about every throw in this first half.
Remind me of a good half-court defensive basketball team. Every time a pass is thrown, they're right there in good defensive position, able to affect the play.
And Catanzaro's kick is right through. And a second field goal here gets him back within 11 now. It's 17-6. These kickers now, it used to be that a 50-plus yarder was cause for celebration. Now seemingly automatic.
Yeah, isn't it funny when we prepare for a game, when you look at the backgrounds of these kickers, it's interesting, isn't it, to find out they were all-state quarterbacks, receivers, defensive backs, all-state wrestlers, right? Baseball players. We're finding athletes all along, and now they're just specialists putting it through the posts.
Atlanta now coming out on the field. They've had a very solid first half, and as we near the end of that first half, they're just looking for a little more on top of their lead right now.
And when you put together a game plan on offense, you put together what you think is going to be the best possible scenario, right? Hey, we're going to score. These are the plays that are going to do it. But you also put together your counters, meaning after they make adjustments to what you're doing, what do we have to go to next?
The adjustment to the adjustment?
Exactly. So I can't wait to see if we come out of the half, how they're going to go about doing things. Do you just keep running what you ran before, or do you go to your counters expecting those adjustments to happen?
Before that, we'll see the end here of this first half. On second down, Ryan. Oh, he's got him in wide open, complete. The 20, 10, touchdown, Falcons. Matt Ryan now 3 first-half touchdown passes, and the Falcons will add on to their lead.
I heard a coach talk about those late-in-the-half scores, especially ones that give your team a pretty decent cushion. He said those could be the ones that can finish off a squad if you let them.
Yeah, they've got the cushion. This half has been theirs. Bryant's extra point up and good. And the decision to just kick the extra point winds up successful. The long touchdown pass gets him 6 on a very, very tidy 2-play drive that time. Here's Bosher to kick it away. This fielded at the 2. And a nice job there as he gets this one up just shy of the 35-yard line at the 34. Here's Kirk Cousins now, the centerpiece of our player spotlight. And I guess Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10. On 1st and 10, Cousins. He's got it complete to Stephon Diggs. The Vikings going to signal for the first of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 34 seconds to go before halftime. They'll run it now out of the gun. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. Now the Vikings will use the second of their timeouts as they get it right at the 30-second mark of this first half. Second down, Cousins. And incomplete. He tried to leave it underneath, nearly got picked. They may be lucky to have that one back. 3rd down.
This defense has been very disruptive early on as they force another one to go awry.
Seems to be the front and the back end. Pass rush, they've been able to get home, and they're taking the ball away in coverage as well.
I love how you put it together. The front and back working in sync. Only way to play good defense.
And now the 3rd down throw incomplete as well. Some of the fans here don't seem too happy about what we've seen in this first half.
No, not at all, and I understand why. They've looked lethargic, out of sync, and this shows on the scoreboard.
And his kick is good. He got every bit of that one as it's good from 56 yards out. So the 3 points here, they're still down, but they put somewhat of a dent into that lead going into the break.
Anything helps when you're trying to chip away at a lead, but they do know that they're going to need a little bit better effort in the second half.
This will be taken in at the 1. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. "15 seconds, all that remains for this first half as they come up 1st and 10. They'll run with Freeman here to begin the drive. Across the 30 to the 31-yard line. 2 yards on the pickup there. It'll be 2nd and 8. So we have reached halftime now with the visiting Falcons out on top. As we'll head down to Orlando, that's where we find our man Jonathan Coachman at our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
All right, Brandon, thanks very much. We'll get back to you and Charles in a minute. But first, time to give the folks at home a look at what's going on around the NFL.
So he comes out of nowhere. He's got this handlebar mustache, greasy hair, and he says, would you rather eat a jar of mayonnaise or 3 sticks of butter? And I'm well, all right, never mind. 3rd quarter action now. Now the Falcons offense, they get ready to head back out here. This is sort of what you would call a put-away drive, isn't it? They score here, especially a touchdown. It's almost out of reach.
It certainly feels that way, and I think that they're going to call their plays accordingly because what you really want to do, even though you know the scoreboard is still up there and the game's going to go on, in fact, you can take the spirit away from another team, that their drive and will to come back and win can be taken with another score right here.
It's still 3rd quarter, but you just get that feel.
Yeah, they're teetering right there on the brink, aren't they?
10 yards there to start the drive, and just enough by about the length of the football for a 1st down. And a good quarterback facing zone coverage. If he has just a little bit of time to survey the scene, that's what's going to happen. Looking for Cooper, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Harrison Smith. And his guys are going to take over at their own 48-yard line. First possession of the 3rd quarter, an interception, so maybe a second-half tone setter.
Indeed, and not the tone they wanted to set. That's the equivalent of running out the wrong door and running into your pool instead of running out onto the field. A real dud for that one.
Has that happened to you before?
No, but I've heard stories about teams actually doing that back in the good old days.
It's the Vikings' turn on offense. We get ready for their first possession of the second half. And fortunate to get points on the board last time. They had to hit a really long field goal to do so.
The kickers in today's game are so good and so skilled and hit from distances that we almost start to take them for granted, and we can't do that. That's a long field goal that they got 3 points out of. They've got to feel good about that, and they better make sure they love him up because he's helped them out.
Yeah, now we'll see if that offense can put 6 on the board here. We'll see. Off the play fake, Cousins. And he fights through one man. He'll find Thielen work in the middle. And he'll get this one down near the 20-yard line, just shy of the 20. A good pickup there at 22.
One thing I can say pretty safely, that route is not called if you don't have a guy who can throw the ball and put some mustard on it. Because if you're going to lollipop it in the middle of the field, bad things usually happen. It takes a strong-arm guy who can rifle it in there, and they were able to successfully complete that one.
Tackle made there by Robert Alford.
We know that old expression, it's not my night. It hasn't been his so far. I don't know if the legs are a little bit heavy. Sometimes having to hang out all day and play doesn't exactly play to your advantage, but it's been a tough go for him.
And every time he looks up, somebody's there defensively. That was the same case on that play.
Brandon, all things considered, they have to feel pretty good about getting that type of a gain considering the blitz that they just had against them.
They'll run it. Here's Cook. And he goes backwards here, losing yardage back to the 16. A loss of a yard, and it brings up 4th.
The best offenses and the ones that win are ones that make adjustments. And right now, I think this team needs to open things up.
So out comes the field goal team once more. From the right hash, this from 33. And Catanzaro's kick is right through. And they're hanging around here as the lead's down to 12. Another 3 on the board. He's been the lone bright spot. That's now 4 field goals.
If this offense had finished a few drives, we'd be looking at a different complexion to this ball game because right now, the trade is really wrong for them, isn't it? They're trading field goals while the other team's scoring touchdowns. That's not going to work.
And here now come the Falcons. They had that first half lead, but they have been shut down here in this third quarter, so time to retool a bit.
And probably need to tap into that emotional vein that gets them back to really playing hard and effectively. Because a lot of times we think it's just play calls and this isn't working and they're shutting them down. Sometimes when you get a lead, you lose your edge. You don't play quite as hard. That's what they're looking for here.
Trying to get that edge back as they've watched this lead shrink a little. Throwing now, Ryan on first down. Ryan hit, and he lost the football. And the Vikings pick up the football. And they're going to bring this one back. It's a fumble return, a scoop and score for the Vikings. This defense, Charles, they needed some type of a spark to help get them back in this game. I think they just got their spark. No doubt about it. And you know that's all they discussed. How can we get ourselves moving again? How can we get our team going? This definitely qualifies. Extra point good by Catanzaro. And this is back to a 5-point game. So not only the cough up, but then the pickup on the other side, the scoop, and the score the other way. The fumble return for a touchdown. This will be taken in at the 1. And not a bad return. Here he gets it out to the 25-yard line. Atlanta now coming out on the field. They'll be looking to make amends for the events of a moment ago. A fumble return for 6 points. You absolutely have to protect the football. That's got to be priority number 1 because margin for error is starting to slip. And now this is intercepted. My goodness. Picked off by Adrian Phillips. And he's going to score. It's a Viking touchdown. Yes, the old tip drill works to perfection there. You're bringing back great memories. Used to love that drill. And a lot of times in practice, you work on not just one tip, but multiple tips, just in case the ball stays in the air for a while, to have an awareness and the ability to go up and grab it, and then you want to get some blocking support and end up in the opposite end zone. In that tip drill, what do you yell? For us, it was Oski. Okay, Oski was an interception. For different teams. Different teams have different ways of doing it. I've heard bingo, jackpot. The worst I ever heard, though, was Frankenstein. You don't want it to be a three-syllable word. Yeah. You want to get it right down and go. Oski is really the preferred word. Oski. So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick six. And now the kick is away. This will be taken in at the 1. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here at the 30-yard line. Matt Ryan and the offense heading back onto the field. He has to sort of pick himself up off the mat now, Charles. They were winning at halftime, now losing it. He's not playing well.
Sometimes you get into a position where you get a little bit too greedy. You feel great about how you're playing. Good first half. Hey, I can do even more in the second half. And then you make throws that you're not supposed to. As you said, he's got to start to turn things around.
See if he can erase those 2 third-quarter interceptions from his mind. The tackle goes to Harrison Smith.
When trying to create space for your running back, the first thought is how physical is the offensive line. Sometimes it's just positioning. On that play, it didn't matter about positioning or being physical. The defensive front, they out-leveraged them and won the battle.
8 yards on the run there, and that leaves them with third and just a couple.
So much of the game today, we're looking for hybrid players, guys who can do a combination of jobs. And anyone who plays a strong safety position, now more than ever, is a hybrid-type player. Half defensive back that covers passes and half linebacker that makes tackles. We just saw the linebacker make that play.
And there they went crossing route against the zone defense. What do you think of that?
Takes real coordination between the passer and the receiver because you got to read those zones and where the open spot.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes.
And plays like that really hurt play calling. They had a really nice gain on the previous play, but gave about half the yardage back on the sack. Excellent pressure up front. Nowhere to go with the football. Down he goes.
On second down, Freeman. And he'll be taken down just shy of midfield. He digs them partway out of the hole that they're in. It's an 8-yard gain, and it makes it 3rd and 12.
Okay, he didn't break that one all the way, but you got to know that he feels like he's right on the verge, and that's probably exactly what he's telling them in the huddle right now.
And he can't hang on to it. Nearly picked. He's known for his hands defensively, but instead it just brings up 4th down. Something we haven't really seen much of from him, an incomplete pass.
Yeah, last week he finished at 70%. This week he's up over 80%. I don't know how you slow him down. Pass rush is usually the best way because a quarterback on his back usually can't complete a pass.
Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10. Try to fire up that running game with Dalvin Cook. Shifts free at the 15 and able to get it across the 10 to the 15. Trying to escape the shadow of their goalpost. That helped. 10 yards. 1st down.
I guess it's good we can't really read the mind of the defensive coordinator now, huh?
Had him pinned back there deep, give up that run. Can't be happy.
Yeah, whatever's in his mind right now, we probably couldn't say over the air.
And he's got it past the 30 before he's hit and dropped. I guess no need to force it when you can do that instead. 1st down, 18-yard gain.
Partner, as a quarterback, sometimes you just got to know when the clock has gone off in your head, it's time to go. Tuck it and get all you can.
Now Cousins. He's going to flip one out here to his running back. That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd down.
If you're a selfish player and you're throwing the ball, you're cool with the completion. Maybe not so cool with the yardage loss, though, huh?
Yeah, you went backwards on the yardage. Hey, it kind of works like a sack for the defense there.
Yeah, it's a really big play for them, right? Able to figure it out, sniff it out, and finish it off.
Give him 10 yards on the pickup, and that'll lead here to a 3rd down.
Look, the 1st down marker is out there, but sometimes it's hard to find for an offense when they're in a long yardage situation, which usually means throw the football. In this case, they went against the tendon.
And I think he's going to go. They're not going to get him. Past the 20. Touchdown, Vikings. A big play there. His 4th touchdown on the year. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. Charles, that was a heck of a play.
It truly was, because when he made that catch, he had to shake through some people, right? So that play, to me, a highlight film that should be accompanied by bass music, right? I mean, boom, 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 and he finds his way to the end zone. Terrific play.
Extra point up and good by Catanzaro. And the lead is up to 8. The drive summary that time, 5 plays. And it's polished off by a Viking score. Catanzaro out now as he'll kick this one away. This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Ryan and the Falcons now come up 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. They'll try to get the ground game going with Freeman. And he'll work his way across the 30 to the 32. It's a 7-yard carry to set them up with a 2nd and 3.
Well, no matter how they phrase it, staying on schedule, staying ahead of the sticks, whatever you want to call it, 7 yards on 1st down, that fits the bill.
And he's got his favorite target yet again. It's complete. He's been big. 2 touchdowns earlier. Now he's got a 1st down here.
And the tight end is certainly a position built to move the chains because they can control space underneath. If they've got good hands, then, of course, they're a dynamic target. But one other thing is they're right in the sight lines of a quarterback on just about every play. And that makes it easier for the quarterback to pick him out and deliver.
It's a loss of a yard there, and now 2nd down.
Doubling this guy has to be a priority before moving up to the next level because the big fella, he just ate that one alive, just stuffed it. In fact, before the game, he was talking to us, and he's like, hey, these pants make me look fat. And we said, nah, man, you're just a whole lot of guy.
He is at well over 300 pounds. He's a big man. Give him 2 on that run, and they're still left looking at a 3rd and about 9 to go. From the gun, it's Ryan. And he's got a man, Calvin Ridley. And able to rip off a big chunk of yardage before being dropped inside the 40. And they convert on 3rd with a gain of 22. Ryan now a perfect 8 for 8 to start the 2nd half. Not bad. 1st and 10. And we return, welcoming you back to Minneapolis. It's the Falcons. They'll have the football, but trailing on the scoreboard as we get set to begin the 4th. On 1st and 10, it's Ryan. Caught on the right side by Jones. And brought down, but not before they're inside the 25. 17 more yards on that one as they keep the drive rolling.
And when you're playing a quarterback with some experience and some moxie, you enter the danger zone when you decide to blitz him because if he's able to diagnose as he did on that play, he can hurt you downfield.
He reads defenses so well, doesn't he?
He really does, and the best part about that play for him, I don't think that was his primary target.
I don't think so either.
I think he had the read, figured out where the blitz was coming from, and went to a secondary target for a really nice gain. Well, if you do read man coverage, Brandon, the drag route's a pretty good one to run against it because you're running away from people on it.
Delay of game, offense.
That's going to set them back 5 yards. They are pushed back 5 yards by the delay of game, 2nd and 8. After the penalty, here's Freeman. And he's going to be taken down here with a penalty flag on the field.
Holding, offense.
That time, the right guard sending him backwards.
And so many different types of guys rotate in on the defensive line now, depending on situations. You can get the bulky guy, the fast guy. No matter what, though, he can't hold him.
And it's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And he'll be a little shy of the 25 here at the 26-yard line. That catch good for only a yard, and it'll be 3rd down.
And, partner, I think that's a great example that not all tight ends are created equal. Because everything was right. Got the completion, but he's not one of the more dynamic guys in the league. So even though he caught it, couldn't turn it into much more.
Now, meanwhile, a pass that should have been intercepted, but it winds up falling incomplete. I guess they're in a situation now, 4th quarter, where they're forced to take some chances, but I don't know that that was the type of a chance you want to take.
And that one could very easily have been intercepted. And if it does get picked off, that could possibly seal this one.
So an interesting call there to take the 3. I mean, I guess they're thinking that their hands were tied, but, you know, fourth quarter, that field goal might not help them that much in the end.
Yeah, eventually they're going to need the touchdown. The thinking must have been they didn't feel confident about picking it up there, hoping maybe on defense they can get better field position, get a turnover, get a better play, and then they'll have a chance to attack the end zone.
Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10. Cousins on 1st down. And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up 2nd down.
Anytime a defense can sit back in a zone like that, it tends to create a lot of congestion in the middle of the field. Makes it very hard to slot one in.
Looked like I-4 at rush hour in your hometown of Orlando, Florida. An absolute mess. Now Cousins. Oh, look at Thomas wide open. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. 17 yards on the pickup there. The drive will continue. It's a 1st down. Cousins now 6 for 6 since coming back out of the locker room. It's 1st and 10. They run with Cook. He's been busy tonight. And he is going to lose yardage here. That's going to go as a loss of 4, and it'll be 2nd down. The fourth quarter here, they've got the lead. They want to keep it on the ground. That's what they're doing.
Smart football. Keep the clock grinding. Keep it going. But you got to figure now, they're going to see more people stacked up at the line of scrimmage as they try and bleed it out.
And again, the run defense stout this time. He maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage, but no more.
And this is why the head coach gets paid the big bucks. Look at where they are in this situation, partner. Do you throw the ball here in a long-distance situation? Do you run it again and trust your defense and make sure you take care of the ball?
And the defense loses him. It's complete. And he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25. A big gain of 38 there on 3rd down.
You know I'm going to lean towards the defender, right? You know I'm going to do that.
I know.
That's a tough situation for him as I see it. But the truth of the matter is, that ball was not streaking towards him. Had a little arc on it. He's got to find a way to get his head around and make a play on the football.
I'm guessing you'd say this is kind of the key here. Grind out some yardage, work on that clock, see if you can continue to tick it down.
Definitely. You want to bleed things out at this point, right? Continue to possess the football, gain some yardage, and put the onus on the defense. Do they have to use timeouts? What are they going to do to stop you? You're taking charge.
They'll run with Cook. And he's going to fight his way forward here for a modest gain. Give him 4 on the carry there. It's 2nd and goal. And the ball smack dab on the 5-yard line. Here's 2nd and goal. They'll give it to him up the middle. And the hole closes quickly here. He can fight only to about the 4. Call it a gain of a yard as they get a little bit closer here. It's 3rd and goal. And in this situation with the lead, fourth quarter, they're liking keeping the ball on the ground, I'm sure. And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. In for the score. And the Vikings find a way to stretch their lead.
In order to lead in a game, you're going to get plenty of contributors, but that's his 2nd touchdown catch of this game. He's one of the key guys in this one.
And you better believe he'll be looking for the hat trick here as this one continues to go. Extra point good by Catanzaro, and it gives his guys a 12-point advantage. This is fielded at the goal line. Then he'll take this across the 25, couple extra yards, up to the 27-yard line. So out come the Falcons now. And they had a long drive last time, but they had to settle for a field goal, and I'm sure that's how it felt to them, settling. They probably should have gotten in the end zone.
Yeah, not out-and-out joy, right? Because that's what you get when you put the ball in the end zone. But there are benefits to that type of a long drive. Your defense gets a chance to take a break, adjust a little bit, maybe get themselves ready to get back out on the field and play a little bit better. So they'll take the benefit even though they wanted the 6 points.
And maybe wore down the other defense. We'll see.
Oh, that's one to warm the hearts of all those old-school football players, isn't it? Tough, hard, gritty run, got behind his pads, bowled over a few people. Look at that one, right up the gut.
So through 3 quarters, no reason to lighten up now. Throwing on first down, but this one winds up to be incomplete.
They went with a dime look on defense. 2 extra defensive backs on the field and covered up essentially every blade of grass. That allowed them to disrupt the play.
Ryan, the left side completion to Jones. And he'll be stopped right at midfield. Ryan to Jones, the Falcon connection there for a first. You cannot write these guys off just yet, not with a quarterback like that under center.
You mean it actually crossed your mind with him running the team that you could actually maybe write this game off?
Not yet.
Not a chance. Not with him. We've seen it too many times.
Now Ryan. Wide open, Amari Cooper. And he's corralled, but not before getting it inside the 35. 17 more yards on that one as they keep the drive rolling. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're down 2 scores. I don't think you need to rush just yet, but you can't take your time either.
Yeah, even if you don't want to commit to full 2-minute offense, you have to up the tempo, up the urgency. Maybe you're starting to call 2 plays in a huddle each time you snap the ball.
And brought down, but not before they're inside the 25. They get 10 more there, and I believe that'll be enough for another first down. It will. And on that last catch, Charles, he tops the 150-yard mark. It's one thing when your wideout gets that. When your tight end gets it, it's quite another.
We keep seeing the evolution of that position, don't we? Where we've seen where it's gone from strictly as a blocker to a guy who caught a few passes to now an integral part of the passing game, sometimes the primary receiver, because a lot of these guys have wide receiver skills, and we're seeing that on display here. Just think about the guys in the past looking back at this game and saying, sure wish that was me. I'd love to have gone out for those types of passes.
That'll put him at 66 receiving yards now for the game, and he's got a first down. And with that last play, he's now up over that 300-yard mark.
And in today's NFL, it almost feels routine. And I hate that when you talk about a 300-yard passing game.
And he'll take it into the end zone. Touchdown, Atlanta. Devontae Freeman, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Falcons draw a bit closer. Getting your back involved, what's the importance there in the passing game?
Well, oftentimes you can create mismatches because who's going to cover him? And you get him into space, which is where he likes to operate with the ball in his hands. Oftentimes makes people miss, gets that run after the catch, and off he goes.
And into the end zone. Bryant tacks on the extra point, and now things get a bit more interesting here in this 4th quarter. Here's Bosher to kick it away. This fielded at the 2. And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28-yard line. And now out comes Minnesota. After the touchdown we just saw, we have a brand-new ball game. And now look at the situation. You've got plenty of time on the clock. Defensively, they have 3 timeouts. So do you run the football here or do you throw it?
I think you have that full conversation with your offensive unit, and you tell them, here's the situation. They've got all of their timeouts, so we are not going to play this conservatively. We've got to attack them. We've got to make them use those, gain the ground that we need in order to put this game away. If you think we're just going to run it 3 times and punt it, you got another thing coming.
Yeah, and by the way, also the 2-minute warning in place, so essentially 4 timeouts left.
They have to be aggressive here.
Cook following the penalty. And he'll be brought down here at the 28. The safety, Keanu Neal, there to make the tackle.
I have to chuckle to myself a little bit, Brandon, because right now I could be in that huddle with that offensive line. I know exactly what they're saying. If you call a pass play here, we're going to call a timeout. Run the football. We've got control of this thing. Get him behind us and let's go.
Their time to shine. They run it again with Cook. And that play going absolutely nowhere as he's belted before he could get out of the backfield. Now, this is a big 3rd down, and you'd have to think we'd see a timeout right away if they can't stop him here. 3rd down, Dalvin Cook. So a nice job to break the 1 tackle, but not much daylight after that as he's brought down. Whistles now and a timeout. So defensively they burn it here with 1:51 left. And now following that timeout, the defense back out onto the field. Here's Brad Wing now as he's on to punt for Atlanta. Fielded at the 20. It's a 49-yard punt, but subtract 9 there for the return. And the Falcons will be taking over 1st and 10. Now the Falcons offense gets ready to head back onto the field. And things are starting to move in the right direction. They get the touchdown last drive, then their defense gets them the football back.
Yeah, now they have a chance to get the lead if they can put something together here. And I'm eager to see how they decide to do it. Do they want to be methodical, or do they want to take the big strike and go after it right now?
Ryan going to give to Freeman on the draw. Oh, and now he bowls him over. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on 1st down. Clock running, about to hit 90 seconds to go in the game. Back to throw. Wide open receiver, complete.
Offside. Defense.
They knew they had the free play after the penalty. They get great yardage, so they can decline that penalty.
And one of the things we've seen develop more and more in recent years are teams seeing that penalty occur and still taking the big shot downfield and hoping to gain the yardage as we just saw there. They practice it, they work on it, and this time they're successful.
He's back to throw. Over the middle, Amari Cooper. It's complete. 5 yards on the catch there, brings up 2nd down. Clock running, and the Falcons moving with a sense of urgency. They'll look to throw. And he can't corral it. That would have wrapped it up if he'd been able to hold on. Instead, it brings up 3rd down. This defense has watched their lead dwindle away. This is where they really need to bow up. They executed well there.
And it's often hard after you played really well early and then you kind of relax a little bit to step on the gas again. They just did it on the last play. Looks like they want to finish this one off.
What a great sequence by this defense so far. They've given him nowhere to go with the football.
And they just have to make it stand up one more time because it appears that they've got their number. Can they not have a slip up here and allow the touchdown?
And he'll be out of bounds just inside the 25-yard line. They keep the game alive, at least for the moment, as it's a 1st down. That's what they need right now. Get the 1st down, get out of bounds, stop the clock.
Just playing smart football, understanding the situation, making the plays necessary, and making sure that clock stops at every opportunity.
Back to throw. Drops it off for Coleman. And Hill running right through it. And he'll take it down here just shy of the 15 at the 16-yard line. It's a 9-yard pickup on the play, and that'll make it 2nd and short. And the spike comes now with just under 40 ticks left. The Falcons on 3rd down. They've converted 5 times in their many chances thus far. They need just a yard here. It's 3rd and 1. He'll look to throw. And probably the wise decision there. No one open. He just throws it away. And that keeps the field goal on the table as it's 4th down. So this defense, they looked a little shaky to start the drive. The bottom line, they're a play away from finishing it off.
They rocked them a little bit on this drive, didn't they? But as you and I both know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They have a chance to end it right here.
They'll run for it. It's Freeman. And nowhere to go. He's going to be stopped behind the line. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and that's going to be just about all she wrote for this one. Well, their first 4th down attempt earlier was successful. This one backfires for a turnover on downs.
I like their aggressiveness. I like what they're doing. They got it the first time they went for it. Why not a second time? I don't think they'll be daunted from attempting it again. If you're on the defensive side of the ball, though, any 4th down stop is a big momentum play.
Cousins is going to take this one down to a knee and end it. So time to start going in the other direction as they come up now 3rd and long. A lot of scoring. There's no doubt about that in this one, Charles. Points, they were not at a premium. They were pretty easy to come by.
They were, but it was fun, wasn't it? Because both teams finding ways to click. And you know people who love this game, they also love baseball games that are 14-11 with 3 or 4 home runs mixed in.
So for Minnesota, the win is their 8th on the year. And they will hit the road next week for a date with the Green Bay Packers.